And we are back. As we mentioned just a bit ago, Alzheimer's, you would think of that as a disease for the elderly. Not so. In fact, you're going to hear a story about a man who's with us, Fritz Goss. He's an Alzheimer's patient, and with him is Katie White as well from the Alzheimer's Association. And what we're going to hear about, Fritz, is you being diagnosed at a relatively early age with Alzheimer's, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you tell us when you started to feel the symptoms?
I started feeling the symptoms about 10 years ago. I should say my wife started feeling them mostly,
Yes.
unfortunately for her.
Do you mind me asking how old you would have been then?
23. No, I'm just kidding. I was, let me see, 57.
57.
Wow.
Or 56.
Okay.
So, but it started as she would have asked me or told me to do something, and I would had just forgotten.
And relatively quickly you'd forget?
No,
or?
not relatively quickly
Okay.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, perhaps during the day sometime, and I would just forget it. You know?
When did you become aware, or are you aware with the symptoms?
I'm certainly aware now, but at that point I wasn't. And she'd say, you know, you didn't do this, and I would say, oh, I forgot. Yeah. And that would have been the case.
But what's kind of scary is when you think about it, I mean, I'm sure all of us go through stages of that where you just have forgetfulness. And at what point did it become alarming then that you felt like this is more than just, you know, a pattern of I forget more so than other people?
Well, I think we don't all go through stages of it.
Okay.
We all go through incidents where we forgot something.
Okay.
Of course. You know, but not where you're, you know, on a regular basis forgetting things. And that's what happens with this disease.
Gotcha.
So, Katie, I mean, I guess that's a question for you then. So, when can you really tell that there's a difference between forgetfulness and the onset of Alzheimer's?
We generally say when it starts to affect your daily life. So in Fritz's case, and I'm sure he'll be willing to share the example, it started to affect his work life. And others, it might be driving or simple things like cooking meals or getting dressed.
I mean, you know, Fritz, though, I mean, you're still like an active, like judo, right? Judo instructor and everything. So you still lead an active life.
Yes, I do.
Does it get in the way of that at all?
Well, at this point, you know, I teach judo a couple nights a week. I'm going to have my own jiu-jitsu program at one of the local gymnasium, you know, workout facilities. I tutor at North Linden Elementary School twice a week with the whole first, second, and third graders, so it keeps me in contact with young people. But, oh, see, I forgot the question.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I was going to ask you. What are the more difficult things? Is it the memory task? It's not physical things. Those are muscle memory,
Yeah,
so that's
there.
different.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's a great point, because literally in the middle of your question, I forgot the actual question.
But you know what? But that happens,
happens.
to us too.
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean, is there a way though that like, what sort of things maybe help with the symptoms with the onset of Alzheimer's?
Well, writing things down.
Do you do that frequently?
Making lists, you know, which my wife helps me with, you know, and as I told Katie on the way down here, I forgot my list book.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I just keep my little list pad.
What sort of things do you put on the list?
You know, where to go, when, who to see, and how.
Yeah.
You know, it's just basics.
Do you now have a pattern of medicines you take every day?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
almost endless.
Does it seem to help?
Well, you know, it's immeasurable, you know,
Yeah.
because you don't take it one day and the next day you wake up and go, hey, I didn't forget anything,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
right? And unfortunately, there was a new medicine called Exana that just came out in the last calendar year, I believe. And they said, oh, this, you know, this can actually reverse Alzheimer's. And, you know, of course, I'm jumping up and down thinking, thank God, you know. Well, you know, I tried it. I was on it for, you know, 3 months. Didn't do anything for me. Actually made me sicker. You know, I mean, I was having physical,
Like
you know, I was like
ill?
losing my balance. And,
Oh, boy.
you know, I at least at the same time it was. I don't know if they were correlated or not or connected, but I was. And
Well, Katie, what sort of, I mean, through the Alzheimer's Foundation, what sort of resources are available for
Well,
people like Fritz?
At the Alzheimer's Association, we have a 24-hour helpline, education, And Fritz participates in a number of our support groups. So we have specialized support groups for people with young onset and their care partner. And it helps to talk to people in your exact situations. We call those peer-to-peer groups.
Nice. And how hard is it on the caregiver or the partner in this case? How hard is this disease?
You might be able to speak better to that
How
than
tough is it
I.
on your wife?
Well, you know, of course, she would be much more capable of answering that than I would. But I would say, you know, it's rugged, you know. I mean, like I was a financial advisor, as I said. Now she has to do the checkbook,
Sure.
you know, and she manages the medicine,
Right.
you know, and she has to, every day, she has to sit down with me and say, okay, this morning she had to sit down and say, okay, this is where you go, you know, this is the 5 stops that you need to do today,
yeah.
you know, and then I walked off and left the book in which she wrote it,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, we wish you all the best. We appreciate you sharing your story and the resources too, Katie. Thank you for
Thank you so
that.
much for having us.
And we do have more information about early onset Alzheimer's disease and how you can help. If you want to be part of their upcoming walk, you can go to our website, and that's myfox28columbus.com. Just click on news links for more information.